Barr says legal path to census citizenship question exists, but he gives no details. Edgefield, SCU President Trump and Attorney General William P. Barr began working to find a way to place a citizenship question on the 2020 census just after the Supreme Court last month, Mr. Barr said on Monday, adding that he believes that the administration can find a legal path to incorporating the question. The president is right on the legal grounds. I felt it makes a lot of sense for the president to see if it's possible that we could clarify the record in time to add the question, Mr. Barr added. But he also acknowledged that the career Justice Department lawyers who had worked on the census question had little appetite to continue on the case after Mr. Trump inserted himself into the process. We're going to reach it. Taken together, the talks between Mr. Barr and Mr. Trump and the decision to replace the legal team underscore administration officials' difficulty in adding a citizenship question to the census. Democrats have Mr. Barr said that the Trump administration would soon reveal how it plans to add the question, but he would not detail potential legal pathways. The main challenge, at a news conference later on Monday after touring a federal prison in Edgefield, SC, with Senators Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, the Republicans who represent the state, Mr. Barr declined to say whether the president would issue an executive order to add the question. It was not clear. The Trump administration's handling of the census has already put Mr. Barr in the crosshairs of House Democrats, who strongly oppose the addition of a citizenship question. And the hostilities. In a warning shot on Monday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi informed colleagues that she intended to schedule a full House vote soon to hold Mr. Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in contempt of Congress for defying subpoenas for documents related to the census question. Ms. Pelosi called the House Oversight and Reform Committee, which is investigating the Trump administration's decision to add the question, to recommend that the two cabinet officials be held in contempt, mostly along party lines, despite protests from the administration that it was working in good faith to meet the requests. If the House follows through with a contempt vote on the floor and no date for a vote has yet been set it would be empowering the Oversight Committee to take Mr. Barr and Mr. Ross to court to ask a judge to enforce their subpoenas. Doing so is the House has already threatened to hold Mr. Barr in contempt once over a separate case related to a subpoena for material connected to Robert S. Mueller II's investigation as special counsel. But in the end, House Democrats intend to go further this time, formally accusing both officials of criminal defiance of their summons if the administration does not relent beforehand, according to a senior Democratic aide familiar with the plans. Still, Carrie Cooper, a Justice Department spokeswoman, declined to comment on the contempt issue. The conversations between Mr. Barr and Mr. Trump came amid a series of abrupt reversals on the issue. After the Supreme Court, Mr. Ross said that the Census Bureau, which the Commerce Department oversees, would focus on conducting a complete and accurate census and had begun to print forms that did not include the citizenship question. Justice Department, but Mr. Trump, who had been strategizing with Mr. Barr to come up with a way to add the question, overruled Mr. Ross and the lawyers a day later, denouncing their statements as fake news. We are absolutely moving forward, as we must, because of the importance of the answer to this question, Mr. Trump. The news reports about the Department of Commerce dropping its quest to put the citizenship question on the census is incorrect or, to state it differently, fake. We are absolutely. His discussions with Mr. Barr did not appear to make their way to the Commerce Department officials or the Justice Department lawyers working on the case. Mr. Barr did not. A Justice Department official said that even though Mr. Trump told Mr. Barr immediately after the ruling that he still wanted the question added, Mr. Barr, and subsequently the department, thought the issue was settled for the time being, in part because the census forms were already being printed. Because of their conversations, however, Mr. Barr was not surprised by the message on Twitter and he knew he had to get the department to switch gears. But the lawyers last week at the president's assertion, telling a federal judge who had summoned them to a conference call that they would most likely recant their earlier admission of defeat. The tweet this morning was the first I had heard of the president's position on this issue, just like the plaintiffs and Your Honor. Joshua Gardner, a lawyer working on the census issue, told Judge George J. Hazel of the United States District Court in Maryland. But Mr. Barr said on Monday that the president's statement did not surprise him because he and I had talked about the census issue several times after the Supreme Court tossed out the citizenship question. Mr. Barr confirmed that lawyers in the Justice Department's Federal Programs Branch, who typically defend the administration's positions in court, would no longer work on the census question. He said that the Justice Department was still seeking lawyers to work on the census case on Monday, reaching out to lawyers in the Office of Immigration Litigation to work on the matter, according to an email reviewed by the New York Times. They did a super job, Mr. Barr said of the departing team. They were very professional. Mr. Barr said that he did not know whether any of the original team members wanted to stay on. I didn't really get. Nicholas Fondo's contributed reporting.
Raindrops, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.